My partner keeps making jokes about breaking up, and it's starting to hurt me. My name is Darren, and I'm 37 years old. Elena and I have been together for 7 years, yet our relationship has just remained stuck in the same level. I fell in love with Elena at first sight, and I've been nothing but faithful to her since the day we became official. That's just how much she meant to me. Nothing else mattered to me than her, and I did my best to make sure things turned out well between us. But looking back, I don't know why I did all that. Why did I hold on for that long? Why did I choose to satisfy another person, depriving myself of my own happiness? Now I really believe love can be blinding, and in my case, I was not only blind, but also foolish. I wasted 7 precious years of my life building something that never had a foundation to begin with. I saw the red lights, but I had chosen to ignore it, afraid I'll be left alone. Elena had a habit of breaking up with me, especially after any little argument we had. She'd storm out, only for me to return later and find her at my door claiming she was joking. At first, I overlooked it, painting it as a typical feminine tantrum. But as time passed, it started to evolve into different forms and stages. From breaking up and walking out of me, it turned into breaking up, walking out of me and parading with a new guy in front of me. I couldn't say anything each time, and I felt like I was going to lose my mind. Each time Elena returned, she'd apologize, claiming she was only joking to see how much I loved her, and like an idiot, I'd always let it slide every time. Our relationship was 4 years gone, but each time I brought up the topic of settling down with her, she'd wave it off, change the topic, or claim she wasn't ready. Months passed, but the excuses only kept changing until it got to a point she told me she didn't feel I loved her enough, and I didn't look like someone that was ready to settle down. This is someone I've been with for years. Every time I asked her to move in with me, she'd decline, citing the need to keep the fire between us burning, and that staying together would only make us get tired of each other. I'd try to understand, convincing myself that maybe she wasn't ready. However, I started to feel unhappy each time I witnessed the way other couples carry their relationships. It made me ask myself why my own was different and if I wasn't trying enough. So I'd force myself to do better, be more supportive, understanding and patient, even though I wasn't happy with the way things were going, but I'd squeeze myself just so Elena could be comfortable. But despite my efforts, nothing changed. I was the only one giving, and Elena wasn't even bothered. To make matters worse, each year Elena would consistently forget my birthday, and when I'd bring it up, she'd become more furious than me, and there, the familiar ending would happen. She'd break up with me and return after some days, and as always, it's a joke. It even got to a point that I decided to put my birthday aside, and we only celebrated hers. I'd always remember our anniversary, and after I give her a gift, mine would only come the next day or days after. It doesn't matter, I'll always tell myself, but now it's suffocating and it's starting to hurt. 7 years gone now, and she still refused to meet my parents. Neither has she let me meet hers. A chance encounter with her older brother ended in anger. She was furious I'd shown up unannounced at her place. Our relationship was almost a decade, and I still needed her permission to see her, or show up at her place to visit her, even when I miss her. I always vented to my friends about it, and after giving me lots of advice for years, insisting I leave her, they grew tired of my complaints and began teasing me about my situation. My mother, too, kept nagging about meeting her, but each time I brought it up, she disappeared, only to reappear when she felt like it. My friends and I concocted a plan to surprise her with a proposal in front of my family, hoping it would make her realize I was serious about settling down. I liked the idea, and with my birthday approaching, I decided to propose to her on that day, aiming to create a happy memory of my birthday at least for once throughout our 7 years of being together. However, the proposal turned into a disaster, leaving me with a traumatic memory. Ironically, it also became a turning point in my life. That day, I invited Elena on a date, suggesting she bring her friends along. When she asked about the occasion, I was reminded, yet again, that she had no idea it was my birthday. Not like I expected her to remember, but then, it stung. I struggled to push the feeling aside and told her that it was a gathering to celebrate my promotion at work. That wasn't a lie either. I had gotten a promotion and my team insisted on throwing a party, so I decided to make both celebrations on the same day. Everyone was excited, especially when they heard about my plans to propose, and they were all anticipating that day. We were the last to arrive at the party that night, as I had to stall her a bit so my friends could get everything ready. When we arrived, I introduced her to my mom and family present for the first time, and guess what? After forcing herself to smile in front of everyone, she pulled me aside to a corner and complained about how upset she felt that I didn't inform her about my family attending. I foolishly lied, claiming I was surprised myself and my friends were the ones that invited my family. I was such an idiot. I was the man in the relationship and I was supposed to have the upper hand. I should have been confident, not groveling like an idiot and sucking up to a lady like she held the key to my life. Looking back, it's astonishing that it took that moment for me to break free from the spell. After our brief argument, we rejoined the guests and the party commenced. But the evening's event had already set a different tone for me. Dinner had been enjoyable, and the moment seemed right. I took a deep breath, got down on one knee, took out the ring, and proposed. But instead of the expected tears, blushes like other ladies do, or even act surprised at least, Elena's reaction was explosive. She leapt to her feet and smashed the ring box from my hand. The rain of words that came after was a torrent of scathing words, each one cutting deeper than the last, and I don't know how I survived that. She lashed out on me saying I always did things the way I wanted, and that I never cared about her feelings. She vomited that, as if it wasn't enough that I brought my old-looking mom and family along. I even went ahead to put up the childish-looking show I call a proposal, only to embarrass her in front of her friends. She called me a lot of names and branded me one of her biggest mistakes. The final blow that came were her usual words, "Let's break up." And with that, she walked out of me, leaving me shattered in front of our stunned friends, my family, colleagues, and hotel patrons. The humiliation and agony were almost too much to bear. I was paralyzed, unable to shed a tear, and simply walked away. I don't know what happened at the party, but somehow my friends managed to wrap things up, and that was it. I became a shadow of my old self, unable to muster a smile. Everything about me was stagnant. My mother and friends tried to be supportive, but I would always shut them out with the words, "I'm fine." I was slowly rebuilding my life when a weekend visit from friends turned into a shocking encounter. I opened the door thinking it was my friends, only to find Elena standing in front of my door. And as if that wasn't traumatizing enough, the sight of her luggage beside her almost shocked me to death. Her eyes were teary, and she started apologizing. She kept begging me that she was sorry, and she had no idea what possessed her that night. That sick freak went on saying she was joking about all what she spilled that night, and that she never meant any of the words she said. She claimed she was ready to move in with me, and with a smile that fueled my veins with rage, she asked if I still had her ring and I should put it on her finger. My hands clenched into fists, and I had to take a deep breath just to stop myself from saying something I'd regret. The thought of making her pay for every word that came out of her mouth. Let's just say it crossed my mind. What was I dating? For the first time in 7 years, I saw Elena as a completely different person. It was like a confirmation hit me saying I indeed wasted 7 years of my life. And for the first time in 7 years, I unleashed my pent-up emotion, pouring out all the anger and hate I'd suppressed. But even that didn't bring me relief that I grabbed her luggage and tossed it out of my building. I told her she was the biggest and the last mistake I'll ever make in my entire life. And if she ever appeared in front of me ever again in this lifetime or the next, I swore I was going to kill her. I could see the fear in her eyes for the first time as she stood speechless. I left her there with a sense of satisfaction, and for the first time I felt like I had finally stepped down from a burning stone to a floor of ice. I had never felt that way, and for the first time in years I could finally be myself. Elena keeps on begging. She even went as far as meeting up with my friends and colleagues to beg for their help to get back with me. I don't know if she's changed or if she's still joking as usual, but one thing is certain. I don't think I'll ever want to live that life anymore. If that's what love is all about, then I swear I'd die a single man with a smile on my face as I lay in my coffin.